Hey guys, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the second to newest episode of The Walking Dead. This is Season 7, Episode 2, The Well. So, I did like this episode quite a bit. My general rating of it is 7.5 out of 10. I'm just getting that out of the way real fast because I wanted to let you guys know that I did like this episode, but at the same time, it's not the greatest. It has a lot of talk, and getting myself motivated to see this episode, it just wasn't easy because I just heard that it's about Ezekiel and all that, and I'm just like, it's not a follow-up with Negan, so maybe it's not going to be very good. But I watched it, and I liked it quite a bit, so I want you guys to make sure that you watch this episode and didn't just skip over it completely. Like, actually, some people did. Like, I almost did because I was just so damn lazy, I guess. I know. It's just everything in life right now is just bogging me down and keeping me away from YouTube, which pisses me off because I really love doing this. Okay, so let's talk about the good and the bad of the episode. To start out, the good, I'm going to say Ezekiel and Shiva have been done very well in this episode. I liked the way it worked out. The actor who played Ezekiel did a great job. I like just the whole way that they wrote him in this. I feel like he's different from in the comics quite a bit, but at the same time, he has all the right resemblances of Ezekiel to make him a complete callback to the comics, and I like that quite a bit. Shiva is done very well. I mean, they didn't flush out her character too much because, well, she's a tiger. But I feel the effects were done well on it, and it's very beautiful. The only complaint would be it's not completely accurate to a tiger. It just looked a little bit fake, but come on, it's a TV show using CGI effects, and yet it looked really good. You gotta give them props for that. Okay, my cat. Here's my Shiva, okay? This cat bugs me so much. If you keep hearing me talk about, in my reviews, my cat scratching up against stuff and stuff, this cat loves me so much, he will bump up against my stuff and scratch at everything and jump on everything while I'm doing a review. Real pain in the butt, so that was just my Shiva, just so you know. Okay, so other things in this episode that I liked were the kingdom. I think that was done very well. It looked sort of just like, Alexandria, but that's basically what it is. It's just another version of that. I feel like the people in it are a lot more likable than in Alexandria, because in Alexandria, everyone was just a douchebag, let's be safe. I mean, totally douchebags. But in this place, they seem like they're just set back, laid back people that really just follow their one leader, and they're cool with everything. It's just, they seem like a lot cooler people than even from Hilltop, so that's pretty cool. Let me say cool one more time since I seem to be saying that so much. Okay, so, and another good thing is Morgan was not a complete loser in this episode. I don't think he really bogged down the episode at all. In fact, I think he added something for once. I just didn't feel like he was the moral compass of this episode, which he usually tries to be, but this time he was just laid back somewhat and not a complete pain in the ass. So hopefully he will continue like that and be likable, which is something that he seems to struggle quite a bit with. And then another thing, I just like the whole setup of the entire episode. I feel like it was well structured, maybe a little bit. There's a few problems, I'll talk about that. I feel like Carol in this episode is finally returning sort of to the Carol that we like, but at the same time there's a little bit of the depressing Carol in that, which is part of the complaint, but at the same time the good Carol that we like is still in this episode. Okay, and then what's bad in this episode? Just basically there's a lot of talk, it's kind of slow, and then there's just not much to it. It's not like a whole fleshed out thing. It doesn't connect too well with Negan. It's just to catch us up with what's going on with Morgan and Carol. And then the singing part, that where you hear all that, I guess it's like an a cappella group singing as you see stuff going on. That part, that was filler, I feel. That could have been cut down quite a bit, but they needed this episode to be fleshed out a little bit more, needed a little bit more space in there. So that, and the song, I liked the song normally, I think, but this version, I didn't like that so much. It was a little bit like torture. Like in this newest episode with Daryl, that's the sort of torture it was for me. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about what happened in general. Basically, so what we saw is, it starts out with where Carol left off. She was in that thing. She gets up and runs away. Basically, she's trying to escape from them because she just wants to be left alone. But then she starts hallucinating, sort of seeing walkers turn into humans. And this part I really liked. This is actually one of the good parts I should mention. That this was really cool, seeing them, they're walkers and then they're humans, so you get to see what they looked like before they turn. And I'm sure the actors liked it. They got to be not only in their walker costume, but also show their real faces so that their family will be watching and they're like, oh my goodness, there's Dad normally, and there's Dad as a zombie. So it's gotta be cool for them. So anyway, as she's running, she sees this house, and that's the house she ends up going to at the end of the episode. I did not notice this until I viewed it the second time, so I figured some of you guys may not have noticed it yourself, or maybe I just didn't, pay enough attention. But that's the house that she ends up going to at the end, so in case you didn't notice that. Alright, what else? They then catch up to her. I guess she, passed out. And they take her back to the kingdom. She wakes up in the bed. She's just, all loopy type, and Morgan puts her in a wheelchair and starts wheeling around. And then she kind of seems very healthy for someone who was shot a few times. I'm wondering how much time passes in this one episode. Is this, 2 weeks for them, or is it just, 3 days, or is it just 1 day? I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell because there's so much going on, but they don't really show passage of time too well. You don't see, it going day and night, day and night. So I guess it's just, up to you to figure it out. In this newest episode with Daryl, I kind of am trying to figure out how much time passed in there. Anyway, maybe it's a month. A full month. Okay, let's see. So, after that, Carol gets taken to Ezekiel, and that's where we see Carol both BSing it again, avoiding the swear words, where she's just basically acting all excited. I love that. She's very cute when she does that. She's like an eager little girl. I like when she does that. That's really, really fun. And then what I didn't like is after she leaves, she's all serious again. It's like, these people are clowns. This is like a carnival. And it's like, really? Do you have to be judgy about that? Because just because he calls himself a king, it doesn't mean that he's just so much different. He's just a leader who calls himself a king instead of leader. Come on, that's not so bad. And what I did like, though, that she's in this episode, she's acting like she did in Alexandria, so we know that she hasn't changed too much. But at the same time, I feel like she's slipping a little bit. We're seeing her slip and decline to the point where I'm hoping they don't end up killing her off, but I'm getting the idea that they're planning to do something with her character to end up killing her off. Because she's seeing zombies turn into humans. Maybe that's how she's going to end up dying. Seeing a walker as a human, she's going to not want to kill it because she's not into killing humans anymore. But then it's actually a walker and she gets killed. Maybe that's going to happen. I hope not. But just a slight prediction as well as a thought. I hope that does not happen. Okay, so anyway, after she BS's him, we basically see the kingdom people are setting out to get a bunch of pigs that I guess they put in this place to eat a walker. I'm not exactly sure what happened. Did the pigs escape? Or did they intentionally set the pigs out? Or are these just random pigs they come across? I didn't really notice that. I didn't bother going back and checking it too well, so I'm not sure. But anyway, at first I was like, what are they doing this for? But then once I realized they're getting pigs that have eaten walkers on purpose, yeah, I figured they're going to be trading it or just giving it to the saviors, because that just seems like a good idea. The meat would probably not kill them. It's probably going to make them really sick, because it seems like the only way you can turn into a walker is by getting bitten. I've not seen anyone else get turned in any other way. Like Rick got his hand cut in one episode by a blade that was covered in walker blood. It did nothing. We see all sorts of blood splashing in their face from walkers that getting in their mouth, and it doesn't do anything. So I'm guessing it's just going to make them sick, maybe. Sicken the saviors. Not exactly sure what they're planning on with this. Are they going to actually be able to get away with poisoning the food that's going to the saviors? Or is this just to make them sick so that they can then break in and kill the saviors? It's going to be interesting seeing where this goes. I think that is a key part of what's going on here. Okay, and then we also see, after that, we see a kid that's with them. He's just learning how to kill walkers. His first walker encounter here, from the looks of it, they have him go out there and he just immediately misses, gets hit the walker in the shoulder, and it just leaves you like, why are they setting this kid out here? He clearly has no coordination at all. The head's here, he hits here. At least if you jabbed and went for like the jaw and got there, it would be more understandable because it's within the head area. Got over on the shoulder. That's just lame. But hopefully this kid learns how to do stuff and he doesn't end up just dying immediately. Because I do think that this kid's going to be funny to watch him working with Morgan, and he just seems like a nice guy. We've got to, like I said, everyone in this place, the kingdom, seems nice. Like the character named Jerry, keep that in mind, there's a character named Jerry in this episode. He's like the right-hand man to Ezekiel, which is weird because in the comics, I don't think there was a goofy guy like him. I know that Ezekiel had this right-hand guy who was like a big, strapping dude. He was always wearing black t-shirts that were really tight. And I think that's supposed to be like Richard's character. But Jerry seems like a new character that I like because he's a goofball. He's like me if I was, I think he's like Asian or Hawaiian, and then overweight too. So I just like that dude a lot. For the little bit that you see of him, he's funny, and Ezekiel's making jokes with him. It's just, they have a nice dynamic here. That's what I like. That's what gives this episode a 7.5 out of 10 instead of just being like a 5 out of 10 for just being boring or anything. It has humor, it has good dialogue, and it's a bit snappy. I just like that. Like even Carol just talking to people as she's going around and acting fake, that dialogue is interesting. Things that in any other show you'd be like, oh, it's just people talking. In this, it's legit. And then, okay, so we see Morgan later teaches that kid how to use his pole, which I don't think the pole is really very effective. I guess they call it a staff. So it's a very effective weapon. It shouldn't be. It's just a freaking stick. It would break, honestly, before a skull would break. So I don't really understand how that works, but I'm guessing that the deterioration of the skull or skeletal configuration is just so weakened by being in the sun or whatever. They've got some reasoning for everything, so there you go. The stick's able to do that because zombies are weak. Okay. But honestly, I would much rather be trained in a sword than with the staff. Just small complaint for Morgan there. His skills stink. Okay, so what else do I have to talk about here? Let's see. So then we see, this is all happening while that music's happening, by the way, and that was what was annoying about it. But then we see Carol steal some weapons, so we get the idea that she's going to try to make a break for it or something. And then later that, I guess, night, we see Carol try and sneak out, and Ezekiel catches her, and they just have this talk. He sends his friend Jerry away, and then he talks for real with her. He tells her, you can't BS a BSer, and then basically tells her the entire truth. Which you'd figure he'd try to keep quiet, but I guess he likes Carol. He can tell that there's something going on with her that's just he can relate with, which gives me the idea that maybe these two are going to start dating like Michonne and Ezekiel did in the comics. Spoiler there if you are into the comics or whatever, not into the comics. But Ezekiel and Michonne were an item in the comics, and now it seems like Carol and Ezekiel might be the new item, which I'm looking forward to if that does happen. They just seem like they would fit. It just works. Okay. And then basically after that, she still wants to leave, and Ezekiel says, well, there's a way that you can leave and not leave at the same time. Basically, it's just she lives near their kingdom, but not in their kingdom. She goes to that little house that we saw in the beginning with the picket fence, and she goes in there and clears it out. I'd imagine it would stink very bad, though, because that walker's been locked in there the whole time. We're talking like 2 years of deterioration of a corpse, plus who knows what else was in there. I'd always figured that you'd want a house that was like mostly untouched, but I guess there's not too many houses to pick from. I think I saw another one while they were walking, though. And then anyway, Morgan and Carol have this funny little conversation before they take off. Morgan's like, actually I think Carol says it first, she's like, I almost regret all the times I tried to stab and shoot you. And then Morgan's like, you're my second favorite person that I've knocked out. I don't know who the first favorite that he knocked out would be. Did he knock out Rick? I don't think so. Just wonder who. Is it someone that we've known, or is it just, like, just some random person that we wouldn't know? You gotta think about that. Maybe it's the wolf. I know they knocked out a wolf. Okay, but anyway. Then she basically takes over the cat, or the house, and then clears it out. We see her doing little stuff, but then at the end we see Ezekiel visit with Shiva, and all is just seeming very nice for them. It just seems like everything's gone very smoothly. And I like this episode quite a bit. Not an extreme amount. I wouldn't recommend it like 100% out of every episode that you could watch. But if you're a comic book fan, this episode is something to watch, and it's really neat. So tell me what you guys think about the episode. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and make sure to ask a question in the comments. I will answer you in a Saturday video. In my Saturday videos, I do all sorts of answers to questions of all sorts. So you can ask basically any question that you'd want to ask me. Just make sure to keep it clean. I'm going to say, yeah, just nothing dirty. That's probably it. So anyway, guys, I'll see you guys in the next review, which should be out real soon. I love you guys.